Mile high five. And welcome in, everybody, to another brand new episode of the MHRT Podcast. I'm your host, Mundungus Creevy, alongside my co-host, 6'10", Mr. Boggins, and Glenn Mile High Fiber Hauser. We are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast, and we do our absolute best to fill you in on all things Denver Broncos, amongst other things. We never actually know where the conversation is going to go, so we get to what we can. We go live every Thursday at 7654 on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Now, MHRT Season 2 is almost here, and I got to tell you, there are a lot of changes coming to MHRT. So make sure you are gearing up and tuning into MHRT by subscribing, sharing, commenting, and hitting that bell as we barrel headfirst into Season 2 of MHRT. Now, joining us today is a very special guest. He is a host, a reporter, and an analyst, and he's the co-host of Broncos Country Tonight. And he's driving, so he's not looking at a lot of our faces, which is fine. You don't want to look too hard. Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Allbright.
Woo! Yeah.
I thought you said you were going to have a special guest. I'm waiting for the special person to come on.
He comes on after the fireworks.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So we've got you for about 30 minutes, somewhere in there, because you got other live things you have to do. So we kind of just want to head right into it. Now, obviously, the biggest thing from training camp is the quarterback competition. Drew Lock looks like he's got the lead in that based off of his preseason game performance against the Vikings. Do you see Teddy being able to change that against the Seahawks, or do you think it's Drew's and it doesn't matter?
I think Drew's ahead on the scorecards. I think it's possible for Teddy to take the job back, but he needs to have a big game, and he'll have to go out there and be more than what he is. Like, Teddy Bridgewater is going to have to go out there and hunt. He's going to have to go out there and showcase that he can throw the deep ball, that he can get you out of behind the chains, down in distance situations. We know Drew Lock's got a big arm. Drew's just got to go out there, play it safe, and pack this thing away. He's just got to go out there and not get knocked down in the 12th round here. Teddy Bridgewater's got to go in there and get a knockdown, and that's the thing. That's. To me, it's plausible that Teddy could come away with the job. I would say that at this point, it's Drew's job to lose. That doesn't mean that Drew won't. But I think barring a meltdown from Drew and us seeing some things out of Teddy that we have never seen before, I think Drew Lock is going to wind up getting this job.
What kind of growth have you seen from Drew Lock in his second year under Shermer?
Well, he's cleaned it up mechanically. He certainly cleaned it up mechanically quite a bit. He looks a lot different. The footwork is a lot better. Those are things that you look for right off the bat. But then beyond that, he's getting the second and third progressions now, not just staring down one and then taking off and then hoping for a YOLO ball later. He's becoming a quarterback. He's becoming. He came into the league as an athlete and a thrower. He's becoming a quarterback. And the learning curve was it's taken a little while. There's still going to be some bumps along the way. But when he's on, he's really on, and it's special. And I'm hoping that he's able to continue that forward momentum, kind of have a third year Josh Allen like setup, and maybe become the guy.
Outside of the quarterback competition, what have you seen Teddy bring to that team and to that building?
Well, Teddy brings some things to the table that Drew doesn't. He brings a veteran presence, a calm, relaxed command of the huddle. He's been a guy who the little details, that maybe a younger quarterback is not exactly getting, repeating the snap count 2 or 3 times before you break the huddle, those kinds of little tiny things like that, making sure everybody knows their assignment before you leave the huddle. Teddy does that a little bit more than Drew. So there's, the minutia. I think it's good to see that if you're Drew Lock, because, Teddy's been around a long time. He doesn't have to worry about those other things. He's trying to perfect his craft, and that's, I think, for Drew. If you're a fan of Drew Lock, I think you like having a guy like Bridgewater in there who can kind of do those things and show you the little things that you need to do.
How do you see Courtland Sutton coming along in training camp? Do you feel that he's ready 100% to go, or do you feel that the coaching staff is kind of just babying him like baby steps and getting him ready for week 1?
I think we're doing baby steps. I don't think he's 100%. And he had a really bad practice on Wednesday, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What's today? Thursday. It was Tuesday.
Yeah.
A couple of drop balls, including an egregious touchdown drop. It's just he's not quite the same. He's not quite all the way back yet. And that's not to say that he won't get there, but he's just right now he's just not there. And that's, I would say that he's at 92, 95%, give or take. But there's that little bit extra that Cortland Sutton for. It's not quite there, and you can see it. He, knowing his work ethic and who he is as a person, I think he'll get there. The question is just, how long it takes to come back off a serious injury like that.
Yeah, we've got a Mile High Prophet, a good friend of the show. We need to make sure that Ben gets a new gold suit.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about that on the show the other night. I'm pretty sure that suit is illegal in like 38 states. It's definitely a fire hazard. So if I can get the Chinese to like lift their embargo or whatever, maybe we got a chance and I can get that thing back. But for right now, that's it's definitely in retirement.
There we go. And continuing on with the quarterback talk, EJ's got a question for you. Says, do you think if Locke is named a starter, he can score 25 to 30 points a game this year consistently?
Well, that's the question. Can he do it consistently? We know he can do it. We've seen him do it. We saw him do it against the Chargers. We saw him do it against the Texans. We've seen him do it. The question is, can he always do it? And I think that starts up front with the protection. If he can get the protection that he got in that Minnesota game, then yeah, I do think that that's absolutely possible because they're going to be a run-heavy team this year. They're going to use a 1-2 punch and then play action quite a bit this year for the deep shots. And I think that they can absolutely put that kind of scoring output up. I don't think they can do that with Teddy Bridgewater. I do think they can do that with Drew.
Okay. Kind of back to that receiving area. Do you think that Tim Patrick is on the trading block, or do you think that that's kind of just maybe if they get a second round for him?
Well, they're not going to get a second rounder for him. I'll tell you that. I think if someone offered them a fourth, I think they'd heavily consider it. As far as him being on the block, the answer to that would be no. But everybody can be had for the right price. And I would also say that there are teams calling. Now, that doesn't mean that they have him on the block and they're shopping him. They're not shopping him, but teams have called. That's what happens when you're a good player. So I think if you're looking for compensation for Tim Patrick, though, you're probably talking about a fourth or fifth rounder, not a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, speaking of wide receivers, Trinity Benson crushing it this camp.
Mm-hmm.
Any other standouts they've seen aside from like Trinity Benson?
On the offensive side, Trinity really is the guy that came, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but, came from the bottom of the roster. On the defensive side, Agim was looking like a monster. Draymond was looking like a monster. Jonathan Cooper has really outperformed his draft slot. He's going to be the fourth edge rusher this year, with Mintz probably being the fifth one. I would say those guys definitely. Nate Hairston's quietly had a good camp. Nobody's really talking about him because he's a veteran, but he's had a pretty good camp. And I think he's going to wind up being the corner after Ojemudia until Bassey comes back. Caden Stearns is going to be a star in this league. I think people are finally starting to catch on there. I tell you, talking to players about him, they respect his football IQ. When other great players respect your football IQ, that's when you know there's something special. So Caden Stearns has the potential to be something special for this team long term.
So, Ben, what culture changes have you seen in the building since Peyton took over?
Well, there's a belief that you could be a Bronco for life here. One of the things about John Elway was, we talk about how competitive he was. He was competitive in negotiations too. He had to win every negotiation, cost him players sometimes. And honestly, the organization got a reputation for being cheap and not picking up deals for guys, using rookie contracts and then replacing them with new rookie contracts. Guys like Mitch Morse or, that kind of stuff. And so you see these guys move on, and you can't get continuity on your offensive line if you're constantly churning and burning with rookie contracts. So, I think that picking up Von's option and then picking up Justin and Shelby's contracts, I think that showed a lot of these younger guys that, hey, if you do the right things and you play the right way, you're going to be a Bronco for life. And I think that has kind of pervaded the locker room. It's no longer, hey, this is a stop till I get my big money contract. This is a destination for players, and I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Shadow Jacker, what, y'all snagged Allbright out of sight? That's because we threatened to steal all of our guest crypto if they don't come on. So
that's what happened. I couldn't get on the show fast enough after you threatened me.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a question from Albert about the running backs. How do you see the running back competition developing?
I don't think there is one. Melvin Gordon is running back one, and it's not close. Javonte, those 2 carries we saw in Minnesota, those are the first carries we really saw him doing much. Now, granted, he can't run with that violent running style in training camp because you don't want to injure your own teammates. So it was good to see that. And he's going to be RB2 just because Mike Boone's hurt and going to be out. But Mike Boone was probably going to be running back 2, to be honest with you, to start the season. Now, Javonte's going to take over next year. Everybody knows it. So we don't need to rush that. And he's going to be a good running back. But for right now, Melvin Gordon's having a heck of a camp, and he's clearly running back 1. Javonte, like I said, Boone, and then Royce Freeman's had a pretty good camp too, although they were shopping him. Now they've kind of backed off that because of the Mike Boone injury.
So do you think they bring Boone back and then Freeman ends up leaving or going practice squad, or are they keeping 4 running backs?
Well, Freeman won't be on the practice squad. I'll tell you that. He'll get poached. Okay. I suspect that they will showcase Royce during the Rams preseason week and see if the Rams want to add him. He's very familiar with that scheme that they run on offense, and he's got experience in that scheme, and that's probably his best scheme. So I think that depending on the medicals on Boone, once they get not this week but next week, and they can kind of start to see the Rams week, I think they'll start to feature Royce a little bit in that game and kind of show, hey, look, we got something. You guys are down a running back. You want to make a deal here?
During this second preseason game, where do you see Baron Browning playing, if at all?
If he does, it'll be like fourth quarter. It'll be inside linebacker. With behind Sternad and Josie and Alexander Johnson. He got a couple of good days of practice in. I'd like to see him get some live reps. I don't think he'll play extensively, but I think they'll get him out there and get his feet wet.
Okay.
Ben, last year Pat Shurmur got a lot of criticism and blame for the quarterback shortcomings, and I was wondering if you thought that was justified and how you predict he's going to be play calling this year.
Well, I would think it was justified because I think I was leading the charge on that one. But sorry, Pat. It was unimaginative play calling. It was a lot of deep shots. It didn't do anything to get his quarterback in rhythm. Almost no screen game, no draw game. There was nothing to take the aggressiveness off of defenses. And I think part of that was just it's not part of his base install, and I think part of it was. A mandate from the then general manager to go deep more because Scangarello, who got fired for not doing that. I think Shurmur kind of took that edict, and I think this year he's back more to being a little bit more like Pat Shurmur. We kind of saw that in the first preseason game. You saw a couple of screens. You saw, some over the middle stuff. You saw some short stuff. You saw him trying to do rhythm throws and things like that. And that kind of stuff is helpful to a young quarterback. I think if you really want to talk to somebody, talk to Baker Mayfield about it. How Freddie Kitchens came in there and was just demanding he execute right off the bat. And, Kevin Stefanski comes out and says, know what, let's run the ball. Let's get you a couple easy passes, get you going and get you going like that. And that's a young quarterback's best friend. So, yes, I was very critical of Shurmur last year. Yes, it was warranted. And, it remains to be seen this year what he's able to do. He's a good coach. He doesn't do himself any favors because he's kind of surly sometimes, a little bit grumpy and kind of crotchety, and stuff like that. So he's never really endeared himself to the media,
Yeah.
But but he's a good guy, and a good coach, and his daddy was a hell of a coach, and so I think I'm looking forward to seeing the growth from him this season in terms of with these young guys and what they're able to do.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have since the start of the offseason like 87,000 corners. And we have a bunch of wide receivers. How many do you actually think are going to stay active on the roster?
Probably 7 receivers, 7 corners. Maybe 6, maybe 6 each, but I think 7 each. It just depends. You may go 6 corners, 7 receivers. A lot of that depends on if the new guy Killins can make a mark because he's got versatility at halfback and receiver and returner. And if he's able to do that, that would make Deontay Spencer expendable. They're kind of pushing for that because Spencer doesn't offer anything in the receiving game. Yeah. And so that's kind of been a thing where it's almost looking like they're trying to find his replacement because he just ties up a spot being a returner, and that's not worked out. And the problem with that is that your other kick returner last year was Tyree Cleveland, who's had a brutally bad camp in terms of drops. And I think Tyree's probably fighting for a roster spot. I'm not sure he gets one.
Wow.
Okay. One of our good friends, Mobad, coming in says, how do you feel about the right tackle situation?
Just fine. Either guy will be fine. Calvin Anderson's looked good out there. Bobby Massey is Bobby Massey. He's a pro. He's a vet. I'd like to see Calvin win the job, but I think it's going to be Massey's until they're comfortable. But we'll see. They may go with Calvin there. Don't sleep on that one.
Now, is Calvin a better right tackle or left tackle, or is he kind of equal in the swing?
He's kind of both. I like him better as a right tackle, but he can play both. And he's right now he's kind of acting as the backup for both. But he could very much win the job. And I'll tell you, the coaching staff is pulling for him. So we'll see.
Outside of Tyree, is there a player that you thought was going to be a lock, so to speak, to make this roster, but now you think is in real trouble?
Maybe one of those backup offensive linemen like Floatman or Cam Fleming. Those guys are in trouble with Quinn Meinert's being versatile across the board, and Tani Moody showing out. And Lloyd stepping it up. I think that there's going to be some cuts there along the interior, some guys that we may have started last year that aren't going to be playing for this team this year.
No, I have heard that there's been some interior line struggles. Is that accurate? And if it is it a Cushenberry thing or is it a guard thing?
I wouldn't call it struggles. They had they had a day up there in Minnesota that was terrible. With the snaps, and nobody could get the snaps right, and that was sort of a problem. But I wouldn't say that the interior of the line's been struggling consistently. I would say they've had a couple of bad days here or there. One in Minnesota, one earlier than that. Otherwise, they've been fine.
Do you think Netani Muti is actually pushing already, or do you think it's going to be another year before he gets starting time?
I think it's going to be another year before he gets starting time, because what are you going to do? You're going to bench Graham Glasgow and keep paying him that doesn't make a lot of sense. And Dalton Reisner, you got to bench him. So
yeah.
Oh, he went back into a parking garage.
Poltergeist.
Whatever he was saying, I completely agree.
I kind of want to take him out, but I kind of want to leave him there because his face is just frozen like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's his headshot for his next radio gig.
We'll see. We'll see what happens here. I'm going through a crap signal area, so I apologize.
That's fine. We had a great freeze frame for you for a while.
We didn't make fun of you, for the record.
We didn't make fun of you at all.
Not at all.
Albert Knopper's coming in with who's your breakout player overall?
I think it's probably Trinity Benson. It just seems like he's the guy. I mean, if you're talking about in season, nationally, Okwebanam and Draymond Jones, maybe. I mean, we already know they're good, but the national scene doesn't. So I think that those are probably the two guys that you're going to be bigger producers this coming year than the national media recognizes.
Yeah.
So today came out that
that's about to say something brilliant, face.
Yeah. So today it came out that the Broncos have over $28 million in cap still available. What do you think they do with that? Do you think they go after someone's last minute cut, or
roll it over, baby?
There you go. Roll it over. I think that they'll scan the waiver wire and all that kind of stuff and look at it, but I don't see any big moves. I think that's going to get rolled over for several reasons. One, if Cortland plays well, you've got his contract to deal with. Two, Bradley Chubb's got a deal coming up. Three, Von Miller's got a deal coming up. And then on top of all that, if you're going to be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes next year, you're going to need the money to be able to pull that off too. So I think that those are the reasons you roll that over.
Rollover plus the TV deal. I'll take it.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's so many players up for new contracts next season. You almost have to roll it over.
Yeah. How do you feel about just quick? How do you feel about all these talks about Vic Fangio possibly losing his job if the Broncos don't make the playoffs this season? And what do you think needs to happen for Vic Fangio's job to be in jeopardy? When we return after these commercials. Am I fired?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah, I could hear you guys the entire time that time. So that
hey, that's okay. It's mobile podcasting.
So you're hearing us giggle while you don't know what's going on.
Right. We get back into these commercials. I'm like, what did they're playing me off? I'm not even making it.
Ben Frozen looks better than the rest of us live, though.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Well, it's close to about the time where you're going to have to head out anyways, because you got the other live stuff you got to do. So we'll go ahead.
Like you're a busy person or something.
Yeah, it's like you're busy or something.
Yeah.
Ben, I do have to ask you before you leave.
A little bit. I don't know why. It's like the worst thing.
I do want to ask you before you leave, is is a few weeks ago, Mario Batanzi basically did a whole thread on Twitter taking credit for your career, and I was wondering if you had some a retort for that.
Wait, what happened?
Remember, so Mario basically
wait, what happened?
Mario basically claimed that he gave you the big break that you needed to and it was a whole Twitter thread, and I was just wondering, what's your take on Mario's claim?
Keep in mind he's probably watching right now.
I love Mario to death, and yeah, I know. I love Mario to death, and I talked to him earlier today, actually, for a while. He's my best friend in the world, and Mario's a great guy, and yeah, we. I mean, he's certainly a part of it, certainly a large part of it. He and I got together, did a radio show. It was the first time I did radio, a show anyway, not guest spots, but the first time I did radio was with him. So, broke my chops in that way. And if he wants to claim credit for it, sure. I mean, I'm such a dumpster fire. I don't know why anybody want to claim credit for me, but if he wants to claim credit for it, sure. Just keep in mind, Mario, you get all the negative with that too.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh man,
perfect.
Well, we'll go ahead and we definitely want to thank you for joining us. You got your stuff to go to, so we're gonna let you hop out and go make some money because we're definitely not paying it yet. So you go.
I was promised a Bitcoin.
Just one.
I was promised a Bitcoin. Was that not part of it?
You can. We'll give you a Bitcoin.
Yeah, we'll give you that.
That's good enough.
What is a Bitcoin?
A Bitcoin's going for like 47 grand right now. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, never mind. Like a quarter of a Bitcoin.
MHRT is just barely taking off.
So is there if you want people to follow you or find you, where do you want them to find you at?
Oh, don't follow me. I'm a dumpster fire. You guys can you can follow you guys. Unfollow me at Allbright NFL. It's terrible. I wouldn't subscribe, so you can just unfollow me on Twitter at Allbright NFL.
Write that down.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on, and we'll tune into the show after we're off here.
This has been great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Have a good one.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Wow.
Damn, that was
I'm not even sure where to go after that. Like, we just had the podcast. Now we're just going to sit here and look at each other.
It's like when class comes out early. Like, the teacher's letting everybody else go home.
Early
that's like that first class of the new school year. You're just like, well, I'm not exactly sure what to do now.
Yeah.
After
you guys just got to watch Lord of the Rings to start the class, and then now you just go home.
So Prophet came up with a good idea for how we compensate Ben.
Oh, give him Ted Underhill's credit card number. That's I saw that. I did have a question, and I didn't have the chance to ask Ben, but he was saying that maybe 6 or 7 corners.
Yeah.
I mean, who are we keeping at that point?
I mean, that makes more sense than the wide receivers of that. I would think, because especially when Fangio likes to use nickel and dime a lot. I mean, that makes more sense to me than so many wide receivers. I mean, that's just what happens when you have so many talented players on your team, and then Tim Patrick unfortunately becomes not expendable, but in a perfect world, you get to keep this entire roster, and I think that's the best case scenario for a player like Drew Lock, where you're not quite sure how he's going to perform, but man, if he doesn't perform with the roster like this, I don't know where to look. You know what I mean? So
let's say that they're keeping 6 corners. Yeah. We're looking at Fuller. We're looking at Callahan. We're looking at Darby. We're looking at Surtain. And then you think Ojemudia and Bassie? But Bassie's not ready to go yet. So if it's not Bassie, who would it be?
Well, it could also be Kerry Vincent Jr. apparently has been pretty awesome in special teams. I mean, so yeah, I think those would probably be your 6.
Okay, so you think Bassie coming back will get that 6th spot?
Potentially,
I could see it.
Potentially, hopefully.
And so then we're going. If we're going wide receivers, we're doing what we kind of thought we were doing, which was you got Patrick, you got Sutton, not in order. Patrick, Sutton, Judy, Hamler, Benson. Are we adding a 6th? And if so, who?
Deshaun Hamilton's coming back.
I mean, we got to.
You terrified me right there.
Nice.
But we got to look at some of the younger players that we can't that concern me about putting them on the practice squad that we lose, like a Seth Williams.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Tyree that's the one that hurts.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird because he was looking so good towards the end of the year. So I'm really surprised that he's had such a crazy bad camp.
I got to tell you, we've been on for a year now, and that was like one of my favorite just blocks of, the rapid fire.
25 minutes of.
It was so awesome.
Damn.
We actually looked like we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
now we're sitting here going, what do we do now?
Like, wow.
I got all my questions out. Now
thank you for everybody adding in their questions too.
We we ask questions in like proper or like in an order of some sort. And
I tried to get to as many like comments as I could, but I didn't want to.
We'll ask you questions on Twitter.
Thank you to everybody who has been asking questions also.
But don't stop. We need more questions because we don't know what to do now.
See you Thursday.
So today was the last day of training camp officially, or it was just the last one that people can go to? Last one officially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and now we're going into like regular practices for the remaining preseason games. Okay.
Yeah.
Closed to public.
I said so, but I didn't know where I was going with it.
Well, let me jump in there. So Marcus, you're going to the game this weekend.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're looking to see, and what is your prediction? Who's going to break out?
I mean, I don't like as far as from the first game. I don't know if Trinity is really going to do that again, but I mean, because I think we're going to see a little more starter action during the second game. I think from what I was hearing early, I guess we should ask Ben again to confirm, but I think Teddy is going to get first team reps and then Drew's getting second team reps. But I don't think that's going to hinder Drew's progression at all of looking like he's going to be QB1 because he's going to be going up against the, potentially third stringers of the Seahawks already not great defense. So I think he's already going to look pretty good. But I mean, I just want to see, I'm not really looking for a ton from the starters. I'm looking for to get out of the game clean, get out of the game healthy. That's all I really want to see. And I just want to see people looking nice and smooth out there. That's it. Get the rust off. That's all it's for. I think we kind of, it's weird because I feel like we already kind of know some of these roster locks a little bit more. I know. Sorry. Loud dog. The loudest. I feel bad because we tell him to shut up, and the little dogs do it too, but they're just quieter. So just tell him to shut up because he's louder.
But at least they waited until Ben was off. And
that's true.
Like, that's fine.
Good boy. He knew.
Interrupt us.
He knew.
George Moravi says keep Bassie on IR all year and put Vincent on active. Does he need to be on IR all year though? I mean, he was close to coming back. He was going to miss the first game.
Did we ever figure out the IR slot situation? Where is there only a number of IR slots, or because I remember we talked about it.
I thought wasn't it you, Rich, and Johnny were saying it was like 2 or 3 IR spots?
Yeah, I think that was
the only difference is like when they can come off.
Yeah,
how they come off.
They would eat up an actual spot on the roster or something like that.
Yeah, correct.
So okay. So that'd be a high risk.
Going back to Marcus at Boggins at the preseason game, in past years, sometimes you turn on the games in the fourth quarter and you wouldn't know any of the players who are out there on the field. And this team is so deep, everybody. It's that's what's going to be fun is you're going to be seeing guys that have the potential to be major stars in the next couple of years.
It's fun when you can look at the team and you're in your third string quarterback and you're like, it's still ripping. Like it's still fun. I mean, he's not the most exciting thing, but you like to see him process and just deliver. And so I'm excited to go in general. It'll be my first game seeing the Broncos live. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I've only ever been to one Broncos game. It was a home game, but
a regular season game in Denver would be my dream someday. I'll that will be on my bucket list. I will do that.
Mile High Private saying, are any of you going to any games? If so, which ones? Dude, we were invited to go to that Jacksonville game and do that tailgate with you, but we can't make it. I was in negotiations with my wife, but apparently she's due right around that time, and so I was told no.
Yeah.
That's not a solid no though, so we'll see.
Yeah, I got to know.
Right around that time, you're talking like 2 days.
I'm talking like, dude, hey, I can always, I've been there for the first 5. Just video chat me, and I'll cheer you on while you go. Like, I don't have to be there.
So imagine if Prophet, you and I, and TJ Ward are standing in the parking lot watching this game.
Push! Dude, she's gonna get mad. No, like it's crazy because like I was like, she's like, so what happens if I go into labor on a Thursday? I was like, you better keep it down because I'm podcasting from the room.
Oh man,
priorities over here at MHRT.
Priorities. Dogs bark, wives screaming, whatever.
You can't compare my dog barking to you being on the roof while your wife delivers a baby.
I'd be in the room.
I got people walking behind me like I'm not even here. So
actually, Prophet, if you want to just do a quick description on what you're doing down there and the coupon code that people can use, that we'll pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, because it's really cool what they're doing down there in Jacksonville. I know that it's a nationwide company doing it, but we were contacted through the one at Jacksonville. And it's really cool what they're doing. So yeah, go ahead and pop that in there. We also would love to get the Prophet on here. So go ahead and slide into our DMs and let us know when you want to jump on. Travis Tarbox had a question. Any possibility that Drew Himmelman at least makes the practice squad? Haven't heard much about him.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance that he still makes it practice squad. Whether he'll clear waivers or not is the question. But I think that the Broncos will try to keep him on the practice squad for sure. He's a big boy, and you can never have enough O-linemen.
I can see him making the practice squad, but I am not hearing much about his progress this year, which means that he's an undrafted free agent who's not lighting the world on fire. But like Boggin said, he's huge. So
Prophet is making fun of my excuse for not going to Jacksonville. That's what I kept saying. That's why negotiations are still open.
They failed.
Okay, so we have a question from Jason O'Neill.
I feel like the door is going to have like a Jack Nicholson, here's Johnny moment.
Dude, it is locked, so if it opens, you're going to hear it.
Well, that door was locked too. He just had an axe.
Due to Mike Boone's injury, what's the best scenario for the running backs? I think it's still Gordon 1, Pookie 2.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ben said it's not even close.
I mean, like, do we even see a third running back being used that much? Like, whether it's Boone or Freeman, do we? I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be Freeman for maybe the first week.
Maybe
I feel like a lot of people are trying to like block it out of their minds, but like we're going to be a run first team. I mean, I know we have so many offensive weapons, but we're going to be a run first team, and so you're going to rotate those guys out like clockwork. So I like absolutely we're gonna like when people were talking about like Mike Boone going down, and I saw certain comments were like who? Why? Like third string? Like we will use our third string running back. Absolutely. So I definitely think we're going to be utilizing every single one that we have on the roster.
Man, how fortunate is it that we didn't trade Freeman yet? I mean,
yeah.
Wow, that would have been.
We had a Crockett, or I guess Bellamy hasn't been great. So
Bellamy's gone though.
Yeah. Bellamy's gone.
So who's the one that just signed? The running back.
The running back we just signed.
Yeah, they released Bellamy and picked up the. He mentioned his name. Somebody put it in the chat. What running back did they just sign?
It starts with an A.
No, it starts with a K.
Well, their last name.
Killings.
Yeah.
So is Killing? So Killings is. I mean, are we looking at Killings as like number 4, or is he behind Crockett, like number 5?
That's a good question.
Because I mean, like Ben was talking about killings being used on special teams as well. So I mean, does that put him, like, let's say that Freeman goes down? Does that mean killings then moves up and we use him as
probably
running back and we use him on special teams?
That would probably depend on the severity of the injury. If it's going to be a prolonged injury, like when he's going to be out or what have you, then probably. But that's probably going to eat up a roster spot. So.
I mean, I'm sure third string RB is going to be on special teams. Like, you're not gonna you're trying to utilize as many spots as possible to contribute to special teams as well, because you don't want to just have like solo special team members. Like, if you can be able to place them within, like, you know, as an RB3 as well, like, that's helpful for your 50, like dwindling down your 53-man roster. So
George Maravi, Broncos score a touchdown while it's happening and Boggins just screams.
Sounds like you know. Vic was talking about Killins yesterday, and he was talking about how fast he is. I think he said he's quicker than Hiccup or something. I've never heard of like.
Yeah, well, and Albert says he's 5'6" and roughly 165 pounds, and Jason hears that the guy is lightning quick, scat back type.
Yeah,
I mean, they did say that he's a whole lot faster than Bellamy was.
Mm-hmm. What's the last scat back we had?
Scat
from the Lions. That didn't actually play. Oh shoot,
Theo Riddick.
Riddick. That was the last scat back the Broncos had.
Glenn Milburn.
Philip Lindsay should have been a scat back, but he couldn't catch.
Mile High Prophet, former Broncos safety TJ Ward will be there. That's the tailgate down in Jacksonville. I'm so jealous.
I know. They promised us an interview with him too, so unfortunately
we can't make it. Like, Jacksonville game, birth of the baby, but it's not my choice. So
not my choice.
Not my choice. I lost negotiations very quickly, might I add. I think I messaged Glenn, and then like I'm in negotiations, and like 2 minutes later it was like I lost.
That's exactly what happened. I'm like, I'm in negotiation. I go, what's going on here? This is insane. And then literally seconds later, it was closed.
I lost. So. Travis Tarbox, I'm going to my first home game this year. Awesome. Broncos versus Ravens. Been to the Broncos versus Chiefs at Arrowhead 3 times.
No, don't. You got to pronounce it properly.
Chefs.
The chefs.
I'm so used to like auto correcting while I'm reading that it just. Cool. Like, the Ravens game, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I mean, potentially we could be 3-0 at that point. That is a very good likelihood. I mean,
first time facing off against Lamar Jackson.
Look at that. Even my son's trying to get me to go to Jacksonville. You're going to get me in trouble, man. Too bad it would be a good birthday present. It would. And Prophet says he's willing to come on whenever works for us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was a great guest when we had him on.
Slide into the DMs, my friend. We'll get you on the show. I think, and like, out of the priority of important things on the Broncos, I don't even know where this one stands. But the only slot, in my opinion, that we still don't have a resolution for is like our kick returner, punt, kickoff. Like, do we have any idea who that's even going to be? I mean, we thought it was Spencer, but Ben was saying that, you know, there's more likely a chance that he's off the team.
Trinity Benson was taking majority of those during the first preseason game. So,
okay.
Trinity Benson.
I personally didn't think Spencer was going to make the team. When you have this much depth, you have to be multitasking or multi-positioning. Mm-hmm. And somehow he's been able to slide through by just being a returner, and you can't take a roster spot for that. So,
George said TV. I thought he meant Teddy Bridgewater. I was like, no, he's not going to be returning punts. Yeah. Mile High Prophet, we will obviously shout you out. Anyone coming to a home game should stop by our fired up tailgate in Lot C, just outside of Gate 10. Look for the United in Orange fire truck. All of our proceeds go to charity. We hope to get a minimum of $20 donation per person. So everybody go check out the Prophet at any home game. Also, check him out at the Jacksonville tailgate game at the what was that, the 19th September?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Ben say that maybe surprised you guys or reaffirmed an opinion that you may have already had?
Honestly, the Tyree Cleveland stuff, probably, and the Baron Browning, because I remember at a certain point it was like speculated that he may have been moving towards outside, just because it was easier. Yeah, just because he was already kind of behind the one coming into it being a very rough prospect to the injury, and being behind on that, and so maybe putting him towards the edge. Maybe a little easier to learn, and he had experience with that at OSU, and then eventually moving him inside. So I am surprised that they're going to be like potentially not starting him, but giving him game time at inside linebacker, which is exciting, and it means that he's somehow progressing to that point. So
I think I think it was really telling. I mean, when you're hearing things from Allbright, like you have to take that as like gospel, like that's it's coming from Allbright. And so him confirming that Teddy could technically still win the Broncos quarterback job just kind of confirms that, like, it's not a runaway competition. It is an actual open competition for both guys. And it's not, the team is like, well, we want to give it to him, but I guess we can let you try, so.
Yeah, but I think he was also kind of hinting at it, like there's a very slim.
Yeah, like and again, like I think I don't understand the Drew Lock hate. At the same time, I don't understand the undying love. So it's like, the only thing you can do is go based off of what you've seen. Yeah. And so like, it's not that I don't want the guy to play well. It's not that I don't want him to win, but even if he becomes a starter, that doesn't mean that I trust him. Like,
careful, can't be critical.
I'm just saying, like,
you can't do it.
Hater. Shame. No, it's obviously we've laid out that the best scenario is for Drew Lock to win the starting job, but winning the starting job is not enough. Like, you have to earn that trust back before it's going to be like, okay, now we have a quarterback that we can believe in. But even for Drew Lock, like, even if he wins the starting job and we make the playoffs, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's enough to keep Drew Lock on the team next year. Like, you have to win the starting job, make it to the playoffs, and be a pretty darn good quarterback in order to stay next year. Otherwise, we're looking at drafting someone or bringing someone into the team.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Bridgewater today, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's with the team next year also. It seems like he does have this presence. He is not disruptive during a competition, is willing to do whatever it takes. His teammates seem to love him. I've never heard a negative thing said about him as an individual either.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a prediction well in advance, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up staying as a backup for whomever was QB1 next year. Could you guys see that happening?
I unfortunately, I think I disagree. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to end up being essentially a Josh McCown. I think he's going to be that really nice guy, really nice, helpful vet presence to back up a quarterback where, he can move the ball somewhat and just be there as great support, great locker room guy to have in the building. And I think he's probably going to be like a very, very team bouncing QB for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I agree with
Mundungus, and with that comment, someone just mailed you a pitchfork with a thumb.
Yeah, I agree with Boggins. Bridgewater got his chance. If memory serves me correctly, last year with Carolina was probably his second chance at, getting a shot to be a starter, which was an even bigger chance for him because Carolina paid up a whole bunch of money to have him be the quarterback one. And him getting shipped over to Denver to be what's looking like going to be second, playing behind Drew Lock, is probably going to be what is going to follow him for the rest of his career. Not to say Bridgewater is a bad quarterback. I could be wrong. There could be a team that might want to take a chance on him next season or whenever as quarterback one.
I was going to say, like, I'll put a caveat on that because when he was with the Saints, he went 5-0, and the Saints are the one team that doesn't have. Well, he started; it was 5-0. When in game, he was 5-1. But the Saints are a team that doesn't have a solid starting quarterback, so there could be a shot for a team like that, like the Saints or someone else who has a good roster that needs a quarterback.
They have Jameis Winston. What are you talking about?
But I mean, like the Saints could potentially be a team that could take a flyer on Bridgewater, bring him back in as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's over, but I think there's more of a shot of him sticking around as a backup in Denver if Drew goes elsewhere than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that Drew will go elsewhere. Don't send me flaming bags of poo. Like, I don't hate the guy.
Mundungus, the
send it to him anyways because I want to see it.
Send it to me anyways. George Moravi, Ravens is a litmus test. I can agree with. I mean, is there any other team that we faced before the Ravens that even, should offer a challenge to the Broncos?
Yeah, a lot of them. Like, we don't know what we have on paper. We have great stuff, but like we don't know what we have until it's like the Jag game, the Jets game could be trap game. Shoot, the first game could be on paper. We're pretty similar to the Giants, except for on defense. But Joe Judge has also produced like quite a bit more than was to be expected last year on that defensive side. So I don't want to go get overly excited. We get to the Ravens for sure. That's a team that we really got to watch out for. Absolutely, though.
But it's a Jacksonville team without Tebow, so I mean, does it really matter?
But how discouraged would you be if we walked into Game 4 with a losing record? I mean, that would just
yeah. I mean,
find some wood and knock
paper,
on it right now.
Yeah, on paper sounds great. We have to wait till. I mean, remember when we busted open the Texans and like going into the game, everybody was like, "Oh, Texans are gonna like it." That could be us. You just don't know.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mile High Prophet Drew will be the starter. I think so.
Oh yeah, Drew Lock. I forgot about him.
Hey, there's always Josh Rosen available out there.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Let's see here.
I remember when I was really depressed that the Broncos passed up on oh my gosh, I can't think. It's been too long since I've been on a podcast.
It's the Benjamin Allbright effect. Like I can't think of anything right now.
Dwayne Haskins, when they passed on Dwayne Haskins, look how that turned out. You know,
Hall of Famer.
Hey, I will say, Boggins, you were right about when we were talking about not the Broncos passing up on Najee Harris and getting Javonte Williams, and the comment or the reason you gave not picking up Najee Harris. I'm talking about the fact
that now I bring Tim Tebow back.
Watching Harris in that Steelers game, I don't think was as impressive as watching Javonte with just his limited carries. So I think you were onto something there. So.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm excited for him for sure.
Jonathan Cooper. He's outside linebacker edge, or is he edge on the line?
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is he opposite Reed then?
Yeah,
potentially. They'll probably rotate. Yeah.
Okay. So if Vaughn is taking a break because he's tired, or if Chubb is taking a break because he's tired, it could be Cooper and Reed on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe, I guess Tuzka's still there. Tuzka, however you pronounce it.
Oh, who's the tight end that started that?
On your mints too.
What? Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing that's for Adon.
That's my sister.
Oh.
Hello, Adon's sister.
Hello.
Are you 6'10"? Are you 6'10" as well?
She's like 5'11".
Because that'd be impressive.
5'11".
Siebert, is that the tight end that was
Salbert?
Salbert.
Saube.
6'10".
Yeah.
Salbert. Yeah, he's a beast.
So are we seeing Salbert as like a number 3 behind?
Yeah, it's just a bummer though, because like it looks like our 3 tight ends that are going to be playing in the essentially the Y position, not the best blockers. So that's unfortunate. But I mean, I guess Fant's gotten better. Alberto, I doubt he's gotten any better because he has been broken for the whole offseason. So I doubt blocking has been on top of his training list.
Did you guys see the training camp day live with Jake Plummer?
No.
Where he was talking about tight ends. And he's like, if you're a tight end, you got to learn how to catch, run, block, go learn how to be a long snapper. Like, you got to learn everything.
Oh, yeah. You play multiple positions. That's what Greg Olson was saying, too.
He was so good.
He was so cool.
He's like, Greg Olson was like, we get paid like almost the least out of any of the main, the skill positions. Yeah. And we play, but we also play the most positions in one position.
It also sounds like Ben is confident with the offensive linemen. No worries about. I mean, I could have sworn I saw report after report of Cushenberry struggling again. I'm going to assume, and obviously we're not putting Glasgow on the bench, but I still don't mind the idea of Bowles, Reisner, Glasgow, Moody, and then Massey, or Anderson. I thought Massey had it down and Anderson was going to be the backup. Mm-hmm. I was a little shocked that he said Anderson still might be the right tackle. I've been out. This whole time. But I wasn't surprised when I asked about the Moody not starting this year. I just feel like there's been a lot of raving for Netani Muti, and I kind of just wanted to get it like confirmed. No, like it's still going to be another year potentially before he's starting. It's just because you're a Cush hater, remember? Oh, I forgot. Rich, curious as to all of your takes on the top three tight ends and how we think the play time breaks down, given that Salbert is coming up as a great blocker. Do we know how much time Okwe-Bunam is going to miss, or is he back?
He's back.
He should be back.
Because he hasn't been full time in practice so yet, has he?
Yeah,
maybe
he played. I thought he played a little bit in the preseason game.
Yeah, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Limited snap.
I mean, at this point, you got to think that they're going to be rotating in. I mean, if they're doing like the top three tight ends, you got to think they're going to rotate Alberto and Salbert, right? Because you wouldn't, and maybe Fant, but you got to think Fant's going to get more field time than the other two.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they're running 2 tight end sets now. Like, I remember when Sherman first came in, they were like, oh, he doesn't do this. And then, so, like, I mean, I definitely think they'll get utilized. Like, we keep on, we have this weird perception of, like, tight end 1, wide receiver 1, like, all these different things. But, like, they get utilized so many different ways, so many different schemes. It's like, the depth exists, people.
Listen. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're taught in elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how we do things.
I totally forgot.
So let's talk about the Seahawks game a little bit. Again, does it really matter about the score? Obviously, yes. We have to win. But do we see another repeat performance from Benson? Do we see a better performance as far as like yards go? How do we think Teddy plays out? How do we think? Do we know if it's the starting defense, or is it going to be more the same of last game, like some in and out for 1s and 2s?
I doubt Vaughn's going to be out there. Chubb probably still not either. Anybody who's coming off of an injury.
And that was my question. Like anybody that's coming off of an injury, are they going to play him sparingly in the preseason game just to kind of get him used to game action, or are they just going to keep him out?
I think they'll get a little bit.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not like a severe injury, some of them might suit up in Jersey, but not actually pad up. But everybody should be able to get some time in before next week's game, because I think next week's game, I don't think any of the ones are going to play.
Yeah.
You mentioned Benson. I don't see Benson having a big game this week. And I mean, my personal opinion, not because he's not talented. I think that they may know that what they have in him already, and they need to get some balls to some of the other guys.
Well, but you got to think that he's going to be on what, 2s and 3s?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to think that this week he's going to have Locke as his quarterback, and he's not going to have.
Well, It also depends on what. Yeah, I guess.
I'm not saying that he's going to have a better game, but I think that there's a chance that he could.
I agree with Albert, by the way, on his comment on the bottom there.
Albert, this one?
Yes.
I think the third will be the dress rehearsal.
I agree.
See, I always thought that like the last preseason game was where the starters played the most.
No, the third out of four was
the
always
third one.
The third out of four was always where the starters played, but now there are only three.
It's been a lot different this year. Like everyone's kind of taking it into their own, organizations, how they want to go about it. It's been a lot different. So
and it's the only home game too. So
you also have to think about that they're going to be playing 17 full games this year too. So it's like you're adding that on top of it, and it's kind of just confusing now.
Oh, where'd he go? KB82. I heard the Giants kept T-Bone signed Air Bud.
Better blocker.
Come on, Glenn. It was funny.
I was just envisioning that rollover block. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
Dude, there were a lot of comments like he's going to Jason Street himself if he keeps blocking like that.
So KB82 did ask us what player was on the roster bubble that we hope makes a team. What do you guys think?
Where's that?
A little bit higher.
All right, there, got it.
Yeah.
What player on the bubble do you most want to make the 53-man roster? I guess Glenn's question, like, who do you think is on the bubble? Because I mean, is Benson off the bubble and Cleveland on the bubble, or I mean, I guess who do you consider on the bubble right now?
I'd probably say Jamar Johnson because I think he's going to be a stud, but he with PJ Locke kind of coming up, Caden Stearns looking good. We still have Justin and Jackson. So, and I mean, Trey Marshall just got hurt. So
do you think Jamar is at risk of not making this team?
Potentially. I mean, how many safeties are you gonna keep on the bill?
Yeah, and if it's between like Jamar Johnson and Caden Stearns, I mean, that's not even a question.
Oh, it's not. Caden is he's the heir apparent to K Jackson.
I'm trying to think if there's like any big name players that we think are on the bubble. I mean, we've talked Cleveland and Benson to death. I don't know. Like, okay, so here's a question. Then, if we're talking bubble players, do you think Rippon is a bubble player? Are they going to have 2 QBs or 3 come game time?
Well, he didn't look very impressive in that preseason game last week, so it's kind of hard to say, really. I don't think Denver's going to be in a missing quarterback situation like they were last year. I think everybody in the league learned their lesson from that. So if the Denver Broncos do decide to go with just 2 quarterbacks and use that spot for another position, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they'll probably keep him because I think they're gonna use him as a long-term backup to whoever's. I think Rippon's gonna be here for a while. That's just my guess, and I don't think they want to risk letting him try and pass waivers because I think he'll get picked up as a backup because he has potential as a solid backup in this NFL or in the NFL, and he's a good teammate. Good, like they love him in there. He's super smart. I could see him as a future coach, even.
That's that's the thought that he could be one of those Boise State quarterbacks that ends up being an offensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yep. KB82, Spencer, Cleveland, Freeman, Rippon. Freeman. That's interesting.
I think Freeman makes it now because of Boone.
Yeah. That was his lucky break.
Well, and again, I know we kind of talked to Ben about it, but then once Boone comes back, what are they doing with Freeman? They're not going to keep 4 running backs, do you think?
No.
It's either him or
especially if they're doing like 7 corners and 5 or 6 wide receivers. You got to think they got to keep the running back room down to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's why Ben suggested they would be, don't be surprised come the game against the Rams in 3rd preseason that Freeman's going to get a lot of balls handed to him to show off a little bit. So.
And then try to trade him?
Yeah.
I think Rippon knows Shermer's offense the best.
I think he works really well in that type of offense because it's a very quick read offense. And
I don't know if he knows it. Yeah, I don't know if he knows it the best. I'd say Teddy probably knows it.
No,
Teddy barely
Teddy was there for it, but he didn't play in his offense. Teddy got hurt right before the season where he was interim offensive coordinator.
He came back when Shermer was the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
His first year back was the year that Shermer was the coordinator. So he came in and played a couple games. That's what I'm saying. Like, now I'm not saying that Drew doesn't know it. I'd probably put Drew and Teddy on the same level of knowing the offense.
Point, though. I mean, Rippon does have the most time he's super intelligent, so he probably does have that totally down pat.
Let's see here.
Well, I believe that Denver is going to and they seem to do it at least once every 2 years. They're going to make a surprise cut that's going to take everybody for a loop.
Von Miller.
Not that. Like when they cut Davis. When they cut Davis 2 years ago, and just before the start of the season, and everybody went into shock, thinking that the defense was going to really suffer because that cut came out of nowhere.
Rich was saying AJ Johnson maybe a trade. I know maybe Josie. I don't know about Johnson because you think they're going to pair Johnson with, and I don't know if they're going to start him, but Sternad I think has at least earned some playing time. I don't know if they're going to initially replace Josie Jewell, but
I don't have another mic. Like
I'm right here.
I mean, the only other mic would be Josie, and so I mean, if you slid Josie over, then he potentially could be it.
Do you think that,
they're both like in the contract year? I feel like so.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Sternad's performance got Josie recovered a little faster than maybe he was?
You probably. Well, and Browning would replace Johnson, right?
No,
I think there's somebody ahead of him.
Well, but I mean, like, so so let's say, for example, that they hypothetically they do trade or Alexander Johnson. Sorry, who steps in for Johnson? Is it Browning, or?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, I would consider both Browning and Sternad more of will backers. So I guess. I mean, whoever can.
Do we even know
whoever can process better, whoever can read off the play calls and be able to read offenses better.
I mean, do we even know who all of the linebackers, the middle linebackers on the team are?
Yeah, there's still the Josh Watson, Sternad, Josie Johnson, Browning.
Browning, yeah.
Browning. I kept wanting to say Browner. And
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it for now.
Yeah.
So how many linebackers, including edge, do the Broncos keep on the roster?
4, including edge?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like,
5,
8,
26,
6,
8. Yeah, probably. Yeah, 4 each.
So
does Mintz make the team?
Maybe Mintz or Cooper. Mintz,
I think
that's a good question.
Mintz. Cooper before Mintz.
Yeah, Cooper's been looking good. Mintz maybe practice squad, or vice versa. I don't think we let any of them either pass through waivers because we're so desperate at trying to find the future edge. Because I mean, depending on how long Von Miller is going to be here, got to pay Bradley Chubb. We need more.
Right.
Yeah, I think we keep 5 edge. I think Mintz is on the roster. I think it's going to be Mintz, Cooper, Reed, Vaughn, and Chubb.
George says 9.
Yeah, that's a bit of a dream.
Is that a correction from 7? I think so.
Yeah.
Jason O'Neill, PS2 for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Let's hope.
And like as painful as it is to say this, I think he might be competing with it with Micah Parsons.
No.
You don't think so?
So Kenny Booker asked who has a better chance of winning Rookie of the Year, Surtain or Williams? Wouldn't it be cool if both won? I mean, has one team ever had?
We are orange colored glasses.
Well, I don't
know
if Williams has any chance unless he takes over the starting spot from Gordon. I don't.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, but Surtain is my pick.
I will say that
I said, wouldn't it be something?
yeah.
I think Surtain has way better chances.
And
Rookie of the year, but I definitely think Surtain at least has a really good chance at getting defensive rookie of the year. I can at least give him that.
Yeah.
So what if
depends on how much playing time he gets? Because
rookie of the year?
if what?
Von Miller gets rookie of the year.
No, Justin Fields wins offensive rookie of the year, and Surtain gets defensive. That would be kind of.
I won't be surprised, and I'll cry in my room.
Dude, I don't even think
we could have. I mean, I love Surtain, but think about it. We could have had Justin Fields, and we could have Javonte Williams.
I don't even think Justin Fields sees the field in the first 6 games.
No, he's not.
Oh,
but
come on.
If more than that, like I'm telling you, it's going to be the Dalton show.
He's a rookie learning the offense with a vet in front of him.
I'm not even guaranteeing that Field will see the field at all unless he's going in as a backup.
Can you imagine the Bears fans when Dalton goes right? Oh my gosh, they're going to be just
he's wearing a visor now. So
who? Dalton or
Dalton?
Why?
Ooh.
I have no idea. I saw a picture of him wearing a visor.
It's the scope for the red rifle.
He's got like the dead shot thing.
Yeah, it's a holographic scope from the red.
That made my day. I was like, "Yep, that's Justin Fields is coming soon."
All right. So, do we have anything super important that we need to discuss that we haven't discussed yet?
No,
I don't think so.
So when are we unveiling plans for season 2, Mike?
Okay. So here I'll give you kind of an insight as to what's going on. So one of our dear friends, Johnny Baki, Broncos Viking, is graciously getting a different shift on his job, which is making it a whole lot easier for him at home and with the family, which is great. But that means that we have to move Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast to a different day because he's got different days off. So as soon as I find out when we're able to do that, then we'll be doing season 2. If I'm not going to find out within the next week, I'm just going to schedule it and do it anyways.
Can we pronounce it season 2 from now
on? Season 2. We can do that.
So it makes
MHRT season 2.
Season 2.
Season 2. So I would say that by the end of maybe halfway through next week, I will let everyone know when season 2 is starting. Yeah. And I'm sure that since you all love us so much, you all have seen the season 2 promo video that has been out on YouTube. And if you haven't, you need to go watch that. Go watch the season 2 promo video
right now.
Number 1, because it's awesome. And number 2, right now. And number 2, because it took me forever to edit that. So go and watch it. It's really cool. So with that, we're gonna end it because I'm still flustered with Ben being out after 25 minutes and all of our shots being shot way early in the podcast. Yeah. So again, we want to thank Ben for joining us on the podcast. That was absolutely amazing, as well as all of our other guests that we've had on throughout the off season. If I miss your name, I'm sorry. You guys fill in if I forget one.
You all give
Ryan
yourselves
Edwards,
a pat on the back.
Lindsay Bebo, Cody Rourke, Joey Richards, Zach Seegers,
Nick Kendall,
Luke Patterson. I don't know if that's it.
The guy that was on when I was gone.
The guy that was on when you were gone. Oh yeah, we've had Dave Glassman filling in.
Dave Glassman, yeah.
Sorry, Dave. I said sorry ahead of time. I'm going to say Lindsay Bebo again. Lindsay Bebo, because she got mad when I didn't say her name last time. So Lindsay Bebo, thank you.
And we have more people scheduled, so we're excited.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
So if there's anybody I forgot, let me know. Slide into the DMs and tell me I forgot your name.
We got John Elway next week.
Oh yeah, John Elway the fourth. That's who we're having on. We want to thank you for tuning in. Also, make sure you are tuning into the Seahawks Broncos game on Saturday. I think it's 9:30 Central, so it's a very late game. It is on the NFL Network. I will check in with Boggins after the game because he'll probably be screaming like a little girl during the game, and I'm not going to
follow me on Twitter. I'll post pictures.
There you go. And again, I should let you know a little bit more info when we're starting season 2 of the MHRT. Whatever. I should let you know. You should know something by the middle of next week. And again, that's new logos, new videos, new times, new days, new shows, new members. Like we're changing everything. New members.
Well,
we're not replacing any members.
Oh, okay.
We're adding to it.
Good to know.
Because you can't have new shows without new members.
Yeah.
So, wink, wink, new shows. Wink, wink, new members. Wink, wink.
Don't you have to wink when you say wink, wink?
No, I don't.
Oh.
It's not like you can see it anyway.
Can't see it through his glasses.
I thought that was written down law.
Shouldn't Mike put new members on his OnlyFans page?
Mm-hmm.
Who says it wasn't already on there?
Why don't we stream on OnlyFans? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it.
That's season 3. So with all that information getting ready to come out, make sure you subscribe, comment, share, hit that notification bell so that you and every Broncos fan out there can gear up and get ready for season 2 of MHRT. That's really hard to say. Tune in on Tuesdays at 7654 with Broncos Talk, hosted by 6'10" Richie Riche and Johnny Baki, and Sundays at 6543 for Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue, hosted by Johnny Baki and Pookie Night. And with that, we're gonna end it. And I'm sad because Ben's not gonna be able to do the mile high five with us, but in spirit, he's gonna do the mile high five. So here it goes. Everybody ready?
Oh yeah.
Mile high five. Woo! Hawkins, you suck. You didn't.
I did it. I did it.
He's like, fuck.
I got up the dogs.
Johnny, go get him. All right, that's gonna do it for us. We will see you after the game on Saturday. See you guys.
Good night, everybody. Oh.